Hey y'all, what's up? I'm back with another recap and review for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 14 episode, I'm not sure, but the episode title is Midnight in the Chateau of Good and Evil. Long ass title. Okay, so without further ado, as always, my name is Janice or Barb. Just do not call me Janice or Barbara. And we're going to jump right on into it because I don't want to waste your time. Okay. Just kidding, but let's go. Okay, guys. So this episode begins with Sheree and her good girlfriend, Miss Fatum, and they are down at her daughter's podcast, her daughter Sierra. They're at her podcast. She has a real cute little setup, and she does this podcast, I guess, with her friends or, co-stars, and she decided to have her mom on there. And at first they're talking about some sex positions. I have actually never heard of that, but I'm going to look it up, and I might put that into my own personal Rolodex. Just keeping it 1,000 with you guys. So they're talking about all that good stuff, and a notification comes through about saying that the title of the blogs is saying that Tyrone and Sheree aren't on speaking terms after the scene that almost landed him back in the slammer. And Sheree is immediately taken aback by this because last time we checked, no one put a gun to Mr. Tyrone's head and told you had to be there. So don't try to put it on her that you almost messed your own freedoms away. Don't make that about her, because no. So I understand why she was upset about that, and quite frankly, I was with her energy, except for the fact that I just don't 100% believe her yet. And we actually see that Mr. Tyrone is making a cameo on this season at some point. But as of right now, I just still feel like she's in a way blowing smoke up our asses, because she was not completely through with it at this point. But she definitely should have, because now he's trying to intern. He lied to you, stood you up, wasted your time, and now he's trying to basically slander your name. There's not a conversation that I never need to have with a person that does that to me. But anyway, moving right along. Down at Marlo's, she says that the boys have really been just acting out since a phone call with their mother. And I'm at this point like, okay, Marlo, what the fuck did you expect though, really? Because that phone call was not only, it wasn't just triggering to watch on our end. I can only imagine being in their shoes and being triggered to because you feel as though it lands on you as far as it being your responsibility to be of some sort of motivation so that your mother can, take this next step in her life that she needs to get back on the right path. I don't think that was the weight of that was anything that needed to be on those young men's shoulders. I don't. And of course, she's asking them, they need to, what do you guys think about therapy or whatever? I'm like, if they've been what you got for 3 years now, like, why are you even asking? And two, that shouldn't even be a question in your own mind. Like, you should know that, yeah, they probably need to be in some sort of therapy just so they're not bottling all that up, or they probably don't, they're acting out probably because they don't know how to release their emotions and express their emotions, what they're feeling on the inside in a healthy way. So it probably comes out volatile. And I'm not no psychologist. I'm just saying that based off of the little bit of knowledge I have at 28 years old about people and triggers and traumas and all of that, is that, yeah, if you let that shit bottle the fuck up inside of you, it's gonna seep out in ways, and usually it's not the best. So yes, get them boys in some good therapy. Jeez. So she says she's trying, but she's uncertain at times, and I understand it, because even someone who's a biological parent, you know, there's not, I'm not gonna say there's no handbook, because I mean, obviously it's 2022, there's technically handbooks on parenting, whatever. But there is no 100% this is the rule book way, my way or the highway type shit out there. It doesn't come with, like, you know, someone guiding you like, yeah, do this instead of that. Like, so I get it. You're going to have like uncertain times, I'm sure. And I don't have children, so I'm not speaking from my own personal experience, but duh, I can only imagine. So needless to say, I can understand where you're coming from with that, but no one said it was ever going to be easy on the flip side. No one ever said it was going to be easy. And we'll get into some other things with her and later on the episode that really just rubbed me the wrong way. But right here, I was just like, well, I don't know, like, I don't really know. I just don't know what to tell you in this point. I don't. But anyway, so we head on over to Moore Manor, and Kenya is getting some little meat and cheese and a little bubbly poured up. Actually, I think they were having some nice wine. But anyway, so they come sit down, and Sonia, she kind of starts talking. They kind of start talking about, I think it was the Drew thing. This scene was like not really much for me. So they started talking a little bit about that, and Kenya was like asking Sonia like, how is it with have so many people in her house? And she's like, she be having to duck and dodge and creep and do all this type of stuff as if she was still in high school just to fuck on her husband. And I was like, yeah, see, that's nope. I mean, I get it. I get why you want your family there for their support, but that's just doing a little too much for me. I can only imagine. But she's also like, you know, and with that being said, I can only imagine like how is things with you and stuff like that. You're just doing so much, just you and just your own. And Kenya's like, yeah, you know, never really sought out to be a single mom, but you know, it does get tough at times. Then they're interrupted by a phone call with Kandi where they just check in with her about, in the previous episode we saw that someone tried to basically the little security infiltration situation in the last episode, so they talk about that for just a second. And I want to say that was mostly it. Over at the Chateau, Fatum comes and rolls up, and they have a little brunch, her and Sheree, where Sheree literally breaks down in tears because she feels so goddamn dumb and so heartbroken and hurt by someone who she thought that she was going to spend the rest of her life with. This scene was almost cringy for me though, just because I'm like, bro, like, you're not saying anything that you didn't know on the inside. You can't tell me, again, at your big age, that you had no idea that this was not going to turn into anything. And then at the end, of course, she's like, you know, why would I ever do that with anybody who's beneath me and stuff like that? And I'm like, what you're basing it off of, him being broke and all this stuff, like that's stuff that you've known since day one or whatever. So that was because I was never no secret. You were just, I guess, trying to look past it. But I'm like, none of this is new. So it's hard for me to feel bad for a person that clearly was just allowing themselves to be blindsided by what is so apparent to me. They speak about the podcast, of course, and rumors and being emotionally robbed and just all of that. That was pretty much it for that conversation. Then we catch up with Drew and her mom, Pastor Jeanette, at the nail salon. And Ralph apparently is writing a book about step parenting. And I guess Drew's kind of like, you know, how can you be like the resident expert on this subject and you're not willing to adopt Josiah, her son, from a previous relationship, as we know, her oldest son. And we also learned in last season that his biological father, has not been present in his life, his whole entire life, really. So Ralph is the only father that he knows. So I guess it was kind of assumed that when they got married or whatever, that he would adopt Josiah, but I guess it's a matter, in Ralph's eyes at least, it's a matter of a man code respect thing. But I'm like, listen, if his dad wanted to do it, he would have been do it. So he really should not try to get offended at all. Man code is realizing like, hey bro, like you not doing what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. So I'm gonna do us both a favor and step in and help raise this young black man so that, you know, he doesn't become another statistic. That's man code to me. Not just being like, oh, like I'm just not gonna step on your toes because, you know, like he ain't that boy's daddy. He's at this point he's just a sperm donor. But whatever. So she being Drew, also brings up how her and Sonya are having issues, which her mom was kind of taken aback by because they were, you know, pretty thick as thieves before, but now I guess not so much. So in the next scene, we see Marlo. She is furniture shopping. We know she's getting her house built, and she invited Sheree and Sonya as well. Sheree shares that she spent $40,000 plus on her living room, and we're like, okay, well, where did that money come from? None of my business though, right? So Sonya speaks on behalf of Drew, or Kenya, I should say, and she kind of asks Marlo, like, you know, are you capable of not hitting below the belt? And Marlo kind of is just like, no, like I'm not, like I don't understand what. And at this point I'm kind of starting to really just be like completely just this way against Marlo, because it's like, at your big age as well, what have you accomplished or learned in your life? If you, because some of these things I feel like are lessons you should have been learned at your age. Like, what have you really accomplished in your life right at this point, and other than having like a closet full of beautiful clothes? Because it's just, the elevator just do not go all the way to the top when it comes to Miss Hampton. Okay, so Marlo also shares how she kicked the boys out and made them go to her younger sister, Crystal, who has 4 toddler boys of her own, made the William and Michael go to her house for the next month. So they're already probably having just some inner turmoil about the situation that they were thwarted into in life. So you add more fuel to the fire by kicking them out because you just are over your head right now, like, because that's going to help the situation, making them feel potentially even more unwanted. I'm gonna leave that at that. So next we see everyone gearing up for the party. Did I mention that Sheree said she wanted to have a pajama party with all of the ladies where they, you know, they kind of come in nude so they can kind of have this bear it all-esque type vulnerability, transparent, intimate sisterhood bonding moment. I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's what they're getting geared up for. And Fatum lets us know that she's got some coochie incense that she wants to use on Miss Sheree so she can get all of those, just let's clear out the cobwebs and all that old stank ass Tyrone energy. Okay, so that's what she's going to do for her good girlfriend. And so then we see Sonya, and she asks Fatum about Drew, like what she thinks about Drew. And at this point, we find out that Fatum has a good friend who is in real estate, and she or he looked up, I guess, some information on Drew and Ralph and found out that there was more than 12 aliases in the system, one of which said Danielle. And everybody's just kind of like, again, weird shit circulating around you, Miss Adora. You got some explaining to do when you touch down. We already know that's what's going to happen. The ladies head downstairs and they go to find their canvases. Nude models walk in. Marlo feels as though it's like Naked and Afraid, which I keyed at because that's one of my favorite shows. I can't even lie to y'all. But Sonia and Drew talk about the whole busy versus like busy thing, and that really doesn't go anywhere because Sonia winds up walking off because Drew's just doing a lot, and I don't know what to think of it because they're both continuing to just show like they're both unpredictable at this point. So I don't know if Sonia was coming from a petty point by saying what she said about like kind of along the lines of, all right, do you guys really be busy over there? Like, you guys both be busy. Like, can we just end it at that? Like, it's not that serious. If someone else doesn't think I'm busy, then oh well. Like, okay. So, like I said, Sonia winds up walking off. Kenya got lit. When I say lit this episode, litty in the city, okay? And she does not drink like that. So Mama was wasted, but I really enjoyed seeing her like this, as well as pretty much the whole season. I like this Kenya. And oh my goodness, she was cracking me up over here when she fell out on the ground. Oh my God. I was like, somebody come help her. Is my wig on straight? Girl, what? So, as the ladies prepare for dinner, Kandi and Marlo actually are in the back for a second and they speak in Sheree's spa. Yes, she has a home spa, darling. They speak back there, and this is when Marlo kind of basically says, like, I've been acting the fuck up personally because they've always been acting up and it's just been stressing me out. So I just like, that's why I've been just being fucked up lately. Is what I kind of took of it. / when Kandi asked her, you know, what's going on with the boys and everything, Marlo then shares how she kicked them out to her sister's house or whatever. And you could tell Kandi was kind of just like, I feel like she wanted to say more and said kind of something along, because Kandi understands those types of family dynamics where, you know, one person sometimes has to step in and support another family member or whatever through their situations, whether that be taking in someone or, you know, just all around being a rock in the family. So I think when Marlo said like she kicked the boys out, Kandi was just kind of like, what the you could tell that that's not something that probably sat well with her. Did I mention Lisa Wu walked in too? Haven't seen her in a while. What's up? What's good? What's good? But yeah. So once they return to the table, the ladies go around and the table saying kind words and stuff, and Kenya's like, yes, and after everyone says that, you gotta say yes, queen. So they go around and everything's all cool until we get to Drew, really. And since she still got a chip on her shoulder, she was kind of just saying some generic stuff about like possibly moving forward with people, and like some of the connections she's made has like been great and stuff like that. And it's just like, we could tell she's still bothered by something, and we already know what that something is. So Lisa and Sonia got into it for a second or whatever, because at this point I'm pretty sure everyone was lit for real. Like we literally visually saw Kenya's BAC rising right before our eyes. She was like on drink like 6 or 7 by this point. Lisa's had some drinks. Like clearly everybody, the liquor was flowing. I'm like, I need whatever they have, whatever they've been sipping on. Kenya gives some background into the alias thing that Fatum let us know about earlier. And Drew immediately is like, oh my God, talk about my husband again, talk about marriage. Like, she really is bothered by being the topic of conversation amongst the group. And so much so that she feels as though Fatum is the negative energy in her life, or just like has daggers out for her and is her stalker ultimately. She also lets us know that Danielle is her assistant, and we've seen her a million times, and they play like a little clip where we see Danielle. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then we do the little coochie incense thing next. Sonia is seen smacking Sheree's ass. Okay. And we see Drew being a hater of the whole thing. And I'm just like, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it has to be black magic or like something negative. But whatever, girl. Whatever. And Marlo also tries to give this backhanded compliment to Kenya that ends in her basically talking about Mark and bringing up Mark again and trying to tear Kenya down when it comes to her marriage. Ugh, whatever. So it ends on Marlo sharing that she's going to take the ladies to somewhere for 4 days. And overall, this episode was cute. My mind hasn't really changed on certain people, but certain emotions and feelings I've been having towards certain other people definitely has been amplified and building up. And I can't wait to see the reunion, what the reunion is gonna bring. But y'all let me know what you think in the comments below of my recap and review, as well as this week's episode of RHOA. Don't forget to subscribe and like, hit the notifications bell on your way out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.